And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another video game review, and today I am reviewing God of War Ragnarok, released back in 2022, which is almost 4 years now. Well, it might be 4 years at the time this is going up. This is going up in 2026. It came out in 2022, 4 years, okay? But, anyways, this is a much anticipated sequel to the 2018 God of War. I think it won Game of the Year 2022. It should have if it didn't. Um, I was very excited to play this game after playing the 2018 game, and then I went back and played the older games, and then I came back. I bought this game along with Last of Us 2 and the Donkey Kong Bonanza game, which both of those I reviewed too, so I finally was able to clear my backlog of games again. This review will include both the main game as well as the Valhalla DLC that came free with my copy of the game. I think everybody got it for free. I did play it. I played all my gameplay got streamed. I will say I did not finish the Valhalla DLC. We'll get to that later, but I did finish the main game, and I got a lot of thoughts. This might be a bit longer review as a result, because there's technically, I guess, two games that I'm reviewing at once here. Though I didn't, I did originally think I was going to do the Valhalla DLC as a separate review, and I didn't, because it just didn't feel super separated from the main game enough to where I thought it was worthy of its own review. So I'm working it in here. But anyways, I got a lot of thoughts in this game. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? First off, starting off with the death of a dog is fucked up. Very fucked up. Very, very fucked up. Very emotional opening to the game. And it does stay that way. This is a very emotional game. Definitely a lot more strongly story focused. Which is it's not a bad thing. But starting right off the bat with the dog death is fucked up. Also, I noticed that the ending of the first game, or the last game, I should say, the 2018 game, does not line up with the start of this game. You end the 2018 game off with Thor arriving at the house. And that does happen here, but there's a lot of stuff that's added on beforehand. It's weird. It's just something I noticed because I played these games so close together, and it was, yeah, very much different. I mean, they do line it up and connect it. Like, it doesn't really have much significance. I just wanted to point that out. But let's get into that story, because there's a lot to talk about with the story. The gameplay relatively is the same. The axe stuff is the same. You still shoot the bow with Atreus. The blades are still here. You get a spear. The drop near spear is the new weapon of the game. It's fine. It gets introduced fairly late into the game. Well, not really. I guess it's more closer to the middle, but I don't know. Just by the time it got introduced, unless I absolutely had to use it, I didn't find myself really using it that much, because I poured a lot of upgrades and skill points into the axe and the blades, that by the time that I was starting to upgrade the spear to where it was going to be comparable, didn't really have much use for it. But it's a fine item. Like, it does what it needs to do. It's, it's a fine addition to the game for sure. But otherwise, like, a lot of the graphics look pretty much the same. I mean, I did play this on PS4. I did not play the PS5 version of this game, because I don't have a PS5, obviously. So yeah. But so from what I was able to experience, the graphics look the same. They didn't need to be really that much upgraded. It still looks amazing. But a lot of the physics are the same, controls wise. I mean, it all still works really, really well. It translate a lot what I said from there over here, because it's pretty much the same. Outside of the drop near spear, there's a couple other. You do some more levels with Freya. She does the same stuff that Atreus does, except a little bit more advanced because she's older. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. Except for the fact that you do play part of this game as Atreus is the main character. And I'm not super happy about that. If you remember my God of War 1 or God of War 2018 video, that I didn't like Atreus as a character. And Noah told me, he's like, yeah, Atreus is better in Ragnarok. Don't worry, he's better in Ragnarok. It's not really the case until the end, until about the final 5 hours of the game, maybe 6 hours. He's not great, and there's a lot of time where you're just playing as Atreus. There's no Kratos involved at all, and it's not great. It's not really that fun. It's not like designed badly. It's a fine idea. I think with him being older, now, and wanting to expand on his character, especially with Kratos already being such a developed character, they did have to kind of be careful with how much they really pushed along his character and how much they were really going to focus on him, which I get that, and we'll get to the Kratos stuff in a minute, but the Atreus stuff to me just feels a lot like filler, again, up until the final 5 to 6 hours of the game. His combat is fine. I'm not a big fan of using the arrows. I was very much still trying to use melee with him, and he's not as good with it. But it does fine. It's serviceable. But a lot of it just really feels like filler. And with Atreus as part of the game, we also get a lot of new characters that are introduced. I gotta be honest. Outside of Thor and Odin, and maybe Freyr, all the other new characters just suck. I mean, they are just terrible. Atreus gets 2 love interests in this game, or 2 lady friends in this game. They both suck. All right, Thor's daughter, I don't care. She sucks. All right, the other girl, she's just completely batshit crazy. Nobody looks at that except for Kratos when they meet for the first time near the end of the game. They don't. She makes absolutely zero sense. How the hell is she living on her own in the middle of the fucking woods? That doesn't make any sense. And she's such an annoying character. She's like, I'm just gonna be a lazy bastard because that's what people 3,000 years ago said that I should do. And then she finally gets to take control of the dog and like, oh, big strong dog. I'm gonna do things now. I've changed as a character. Like I said, Thor's daughter is just a bunch of nothing. And most of the other new characters are really just a bunch of nothing. It sucks. Because the main characters are still really good. Like Sindri and Brock and Freya and all these other characters are still really good. And with the supporting cast being such of a dud with the new characters, it kind of just brings them down a little bit, which sucks. Thankfully, around the midway point of the game, most of the new characters become irrelevant, outside of Thor, Odin, Thor's daughter, and Freyr, which, like, 3 of those 4 characters are passable characters in this game, and Odin and Thor are really good. I really liked Odin and Thor in this game. Freyr's fine. He's just kind of there for most of the game, though, so I can't really say too much on him, and then Thor's daughter is just like, again, she's barely there. It's fine. But the Atreus parts of the game bring down this game, and it sucks because the Kratos stuff that we get in this game is absolutely incredible pieces of art. I can safely say, through playing this game, plus the other 4, that Kratos is without a doubt the greatest video game character of all time. Not even close. From what we get in the first game, second game, and third game, those first 3 games, with him being such a ruthless, badass, just beat 'em up character, how badass that is, to then in the last game and this one, just he's such a much more developed character emotionally, and just has so much more personality to him, so much more lore that we learn, so much more character growth and development, while also still carrying that badass stuff to him is, it's really hard. It's really hard for a game to do that. It's very rare that we get that from a game. We don't get it from fucking Mario, for shit show. I mean, Batman, the Batman Arkham games, I guess, kind of. Bayonetta, maybe. Not really. But Kratos has done it. They do it with Kratos so good. And it is just an absolute gem to watch it play out. Which is why, when if you watch the streams, you'll notice how pissed off I was every time we switched from Kratos to Atreus, and how happy I was when we switched back from Atreus to Kratos. And to be fair, we do play the majority of the game still as Kratos. There's a good amount of Atreus segments, but a lot of them are shorter, which is good in my opinion. There's only like 2 really long Atreus segments, and they are absolute duds of gameplay. I mean, my god. But, it's already explained why. But the Kratos stuff is so incredibly good. If it was just Kratos stuff, might have to call this my favorite game of all time. Like, it was so good. I cannot believe how good it was. And it doesn't really weigh down, and the Atreus stuff doesn't really weigh down my opinion of the game that much. It's still good, like, in comparison to video game storytelling, it's still good. Just compared to what it's being paired with, Kratos stuff doesn't even compare. Not even close. But then a lot of the other stuff that I got to talk about here is in that final half of the game. I do want to comment on the casting of Odin. It's Eddie Carr. I was disappointed that we didn't see any T-Rexes. Just saying. I just wanted to point that out. But then we get, they kind of, and for the first half or maybe 2/3 of the game, you do a little bit as Kratos, and then you do a little bit as Atreus, and then they're fighting with each other, and they're like, Atreus is getting older, he's angsty teen, and Kratos is still being a bitch, but he's trying to be softer, and then they finally come around and learn with each other through Tyr. Get to that in a second. And that's kind of where the game does a lot of the bouncing back and forth. But once Atreus and Kratos finally come back together, after Atreus goes to Asgard, comes back, they're together again. That's where the game, I think, really shines and takes off. And you got you have the Heimdall boss fight. That's a throwback to old Kratos. There's a lot of subtle callbacks or references to the older God of War games in this game. Through Kratos as a character, what he goes through in this game, but also some setting pieces, some other references that are made. A lot of it is in the DLC, and we'll get to the DLC in a second, but there are a few in the main game as well, and I think that the Heimdall boss fight with Kratos is a really big throwback, because it is the only god in this game that Kratos kills himself. And that's a throwback to the old games, because that's what Kratos did. Especially the third game, God of War 3, was a big catalyst for that. And it just felt like it was that again. And it was so nice. It was so nice. Because I really do like God of War 1 through 3 Kratos. I think God of War 2018 and Ragnarok Kratos is great too. But they're definitely 2 different Kratoses. And it was nice to see the old one come back. Just for a little bit. But then, you have that, and then the plot twist with Tyr and Odin, and then Brock dying. What? That's insane. I would have never thought that they were going to kill, I really didn't think they were going to kill off any of the main cast here. But they did, and they killed off Brock. I feel like Brock was a very unnecessary death. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. It does when you think about it, kind of with the stuff you hear earlier in the game with Sindri talking to Atreus about how Brock died, and he brought Brock back to life. We didn't bring all of Brock back to life, and so it's been a secret. And they have the kind of this fight about it once Brock learns what's going on and everything like that, and then Brock dies. Right? It's done well in that regard. I just don't feel like Brock was a necessary character to kill off. But I was thinking about it, like, what character could you have killed off? I don't know. You obviously can't kill off Kratos. You can't kill off Atreus. You can't kill off Freya. You can't kill off... I mean, I guess you could have killed off Sindri, but I feel like that would have the same effect that Brock's death did. And it wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense. So who... You can't kill off Mimir. Who do you kill off? You know... So the plot twist, in my opinion, was well done, and his funeral is very well done too. That little secret ending. I found out as well that you can actually bring him back to life if you go to the funeral, shoot him with the purple arrow, and then throw, I think, the blade at him or something, or a spear. He just comes back to life. Would have liked to know that, because I would have brought him back to life, but I didn't. I sent him off on his funeral, so. Rest in peace, Brock. But then we get to the ending of the game. And the end fights, I think, were really, really good. The second Thor fight is really, really good. The Odin final fight is amazing. Some really well done final fights there, I will have to admit. The whole Ragnarok thing, going through that was pretty cool. And it's kind of nice just to see it all come together at the end. Everything that we've been working up to for so long, through really 2 games now, is just coming together. And the final fights are really well done. They're not super easy, but they're not the hardest. I did consider putting the Odin fight on the hardest video game levels list. I don't think I will. I think I am going to make it an honorable mention, but I'm not going to put it on the list. Now, if boss fight is going to be on the hardest video game levels list from this game, we'll get to that in a second. But the ending with the final fights, and then the emotional ending to the game, sending Brock off, but also just, letting Atreus go on his own, and Kratos really completing that arc as a character, is done really, really well. And for the first time, I was like, man, Atreus finally isn't insufferable. And now he's gone. He finally became a tolerable character, and then he dipped. I guess that's just how fate works sometimes. But it's done really, really, really well. So, I don't have many complaints about God of War Ragnarok. I really don't. Now, the DLC, on the other hand, the Valhalla DLC, again, it comes with the game. You just have to install it. What did I think of that? Well, I have mixed feelings on it. I think overall it is a pretty decent DLC, and I am glad it's free, included with the game. I think that's nice. It definitely wouldn't be something that I'd purchase. I'm not one to normally play DLC. I don't really talk about DLC a whole lot here. I think I've only bought like 1 or 2 things of DLC in the past, and that was just because it was cool and it was like worth it for me. But I played this one, and like I said, it's okay. I mean, it's mostly, I could tell for the most part, it is a fan service for the older games. You go back to Greece. You talk to a lot of old characters. You see a lot of old weapons or old buildings. You fight a lot of old enemies, and you do that. And then the whole thing about the game, though, I mean, it's a very short segment. I mean, you can complete it in like 4 or 5 hours. God forbid. We'll get to that in a second. But I mean, Freya's there. She's an asshole. I don't know why she's an asshole, though. Like, her and Kratos end off on such a good note on the end of the main game, and then you start the Valhalla DLC and they're immediately at odds again. Probably because I didn't do many side quests. I would have to go back and check that out, but I don't know. But then you're with Mimir, and Mimir's just like there. It's so funny. Like, Mimir contributes nothing to the DLC, but it's so funny because he's just like existing. But then you have Tyr. There's a lot of stuff with Tyr. You fight Tyr 4 times, boss, the real tier. This time you fight him 4 times. And then you learn some more stuff about Kratos' past, and Helios is there. He has a big portion of this too. And then I did spoil the ending for myself. I did not finish the DLC like I said, but I did spoil the ending. And that part where he gets to see his old self. Kratos gets to see old Kratos and new Kratos together in the same room. I shed a tear. That was awesome. I mean, that is absolutely awesome. It's hard to appreciate that, though, because, like I said, a level did get on the hardest video game levels list. And that is the final of the 4 tier boss fights. It's not so much, and I'll talk about this whenever I redo the list, which probably won't be for a while. This was the first significant change to the list in a while. But it's not so much the final fight with Tyr, it's the build up to the final fight with Tyr. Because what the DLC is you're basically doing the Valhalla trial over and over and over again, doing the separate fights with Tyr and then going back and doing it again until you can get the true realization of everything, I guess. And there's so much that you have to do before you get to Tyr, and there's no checkpoints. If you die, you have to restart the run. And there's very few points to get health. Oh, my mic went in and out there. I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. I don't really want to do this over. Yeah, okay, we should be good. But there's very few checkpoints, there's very few places to get resources or health or anything. And then the catalyst of it all is you get to Olympus and there's this giant gauntlet of chosen slains that you have to do. And you are on a timer and you have to find the places to fight them. And if you wait too long, they get more difficult. And the final one, you have to do this 6 times. 6 times. Way too many times. And they're impossible to find. It's so hard to find them in an amount of time. I end up getting into the hardest difficulty just because I can't fucking find them. On top of the fact that there's a million common enemies just running around the halls of this area. They have this stupid thing where they can tether onto you, and then you have to break the tether in order to keep running, or you just fight them. And during all of that, you lose all of your health, you lose all of your rage, you lose all of your resources. Then you go fight Tyr, and the final fight with Tyr is way too fucking difficult. I'm sorry, it is way too fucking difficult. You cannot land a hit on this guy, and he has this impossible attack to avoid where he just drops a rain of fire all over the fucking place. There's nothing you can do to avoid it. It pisses me the fuck off because you start with only 25% health maximum, and so you're dead in 3 hits. And then you have to go back and do it all over again and over again and over again and over again. I just said fuck it. I said I'm done. I rage quit. I said I'm fucking done. I looked up the ending, saw the ending myself. I don't give a shit. I tried it, and I do not care. I do not care, okay? It's DLC anyways. I beat the main game. I don't care, right? But I will say, other than that, it did feel not super repetitive. For something where you're just doing the same, trials over and over again, they did do a good job at making it not repetitive, which I do appreciate. And it's a pretty well-designed DLC. You can definitely tell there are some elements that they were hoping to maybe put in the main game, or they had ideas for the next game that they decided to throw in as DLC here. And it is definitely a very watered-down version of the game, but I think it's fine for what a little short DLC what it is. And it gives a good combat challenge if anybody out there wants to give it a shot. So it's really all I gotta say for God of War Ragnarok. The DLC bullshit at the end definitely did end me off on a sour note, which sucks, but I can still say this is one of my favorite games of all time. It's definitely going to be on my top 25 video games list, which that's a list that I hope to do very soon, because I don't have any more games on my backlog. But with that saying, my final score for this game, I'm going to have to give it a good 8.5 out of 10. I will say I do think that the 2018 game is a little better. Just a little bit, but I think it is a little better. The Atreus parts of this Ragnarok are just not great, and they weigh it down. I could give this game a 9. I think I'll give it a 9, actually. It's really hard to not give it any lower than a 9 because it is just such a good game. Especially those final 5 to 6 hours of the game are really, really good. And I 100% recommend playing this. If you liked God of War 2018, if you like the older God of War games, 100% recommend playing this. Not necessarily DLC, but play the main game. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It is a great game, 100% deserving of the money that it would cost to purchase it. It's 100% deserving all of the awards that it got too, and it probably deserved more. So, anyways, that's going to do it for this review. I know it's a long one, but we did do the DLC talk in there too, but I did have a lot to say, as always do. So, if you've played God of War Ragnarok and or the DLC, if you beat the DLC, let me know how you did it, because I am lost on what to do. But if you even just played the main game, I'd love to know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Do you think we're going to get another God of War game? I think one's in the works. I don't really know what direction they would take from here. I mean, Kratos' arc is completed. I don't think we need any more Kratos. But making it an Atreus-centered game, I think, would absolutely suck. But it would make money, so they're going to do it. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Stay tuned for other much more amazing content, including more game reviews and other awesome stuff. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.